So next time you think it's scary and you can't do it, just think down, 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 down. I'm gonna hold your hand and we're gonna make it through this together.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I could teach you, but I have to charge. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I could teach you.
Hey y'all, so today I want to talk about my favorite mantra, one that's very near and dear to me, and it is, there's no growth without discomfort. So this is going to be a little chit chat about how we get out of our comfort zone, the importance of doing so, and just tools, like I guess a framework on how to achieve it. This has managed to be such a reoccurring theme in my life, especially over the last few years, mainly because I've achieved a lot through discomfort. And I feel like this is an important message to share with others, and just kind of identifying the signs for a growth spurt and like what that looks like, how to move through it and things of that nature. So yeah, I'm gonna hold your hand and we're gonna make it through this together. And it's just like, I know it's scary, it can be daunting, it could be like super confusing, but it's your journey. And I'll be damned if I sit right here while you don't take everything that's yours, okay? Yeah, no, like we're going to lock in and we're going to get right, and we're going to embrace the discomfort that comes with the growth, point blank period. So in order to like better explain the idea of being boxed in, I like to think of plants. So a house plant, for example, you get a plant, you take it home, you get some soil, you put it in a pot, you water it, boom, the plant starts growing. But you start to notice that the plant looks a little sickly, like it might be wilting, it might be dying. And then you're like, oh, bright idea. Time to repot the plant, time to give it some fresh soil, some more water. And I feel like we have a lot to learn from nature in that respect, because a lot like plants, when our environment starts becoming suffocating, our light is dimmed, we start to wilt. I ain't trying to say we dying, but maybe our soul is dying, or like our ambition is dying, but like something about us just kind of loses that spark. So you need to repot yourself. That means you need to change your environment. That might mean you need to change the people that you hang around. You might need to change the way you think. You might need to get up out that toxic relationship, that toxic work environment, whatever it is, it's time for you to repot yourself. And even more so, I like to think of plants out in the wild, because they're not potted at all. They're boundless, they're thriving, and they're taking up space. And me and you, one thing that we're going to do, we are going to take up space, all the space that we deserve. Nobody's going to confine us. We're better than a potted plant. We're a wild plant. We a damn tree or weeds or something. We taking up a lot of space and we're unapologetic about it. How about that? That's what growth needs to look like. It needs to be unapologetic. It needs to be boundless. It needs to be fruitful. And it needs to be yours. Now, the reason the growth journey is so important and why it needs to be taken seriously is because you need to make room for your blessings. And the growth journey will allow you to do just that. Once you've given yourself that room to grow, you'll now have the space to accept the blessings that were already yours. So I find that like as people, sometimes we find it difficult to make room for like the spiritual journey or the personal growth, but we'll make room for furniture. We'll make room in the garage for the car. We'll make room for people to take up our time. We'll even make room for people to get on our nerves. So as far as putting yourself first is concerned, it's time to make time for doing whatever it is we need to do to achieve this growth, this growth, which means making room for your blessings, making room for your opportunities, and just making room for you to feel like you can spread your wings, fly beyond your circumstance, beyond where you are right now. That's what we need to be focused on. So we're making room for our blessings. We're making room for everything that is ours, because it's already ours. Like to be very clear, like all your blessings, everything that's for you is for you. But it's just like, do you even have the room to put it anywhere? Because it's like your pot is full. You're maxed out. You've reached your limit. Like credit card is declining. but you want more. No, baby, it's time to pay the bills down. It's time to make some room. That's what the growth journey is. It's making room for your blessings. And sometimes in order to make room, you can't stay in the same place that's already full. You might have to move on to another place, and that is okay. Sometimes we got to change our environment. We got to change our surroundings, whether that's our physical surroundings, our people surroundings, whatever it is. It's important that you do it because it's destined for you. So keep that in mind. So yeah, sometimes we find it difficult to make space, but for some of us, it's not even that we have an issue with making space. We have an issue with identifying when it's even time to make space. Honey, you have to know when a growth spurt is coming on. So you might ask, what does a growth spurt even look like? Like what feelings do I feel? What things do I think? Like, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna speak off my experience. So when my growth spurts were coming on, there are two things. There are two things that were happening. Either one of these things or both of them at the same time. I was either feeling complacency or I was feeling dissatisfied with things that used to serve me. So moving off of complacency first, a very common indicator of readiness to grow, what you'll start feeling is stuck. You know, like you might fantasize about should've, would've, could've, like all that stuff. Like you might dream of having somebody else's life or being in somebody's shoes. It could be a person you don't know. It could be a person that's close to you. It doesn't matter. You start to compare yourself and just identify every little minuscule thing that's probably wrong with your life, and you kind of just feel stuck. So whatever you have or whatever life you've been living is just like no longer enough because you've now identified that there are things beyond your scope that you want to achieve and you just feel stuck. A great indicator that you have a growth spurt coming on. The second one, dissatisfaction with things that used to satisfy. This one's like really funny because I feel like everyone goes through this one, and this is like because not everyone gets that sense of complacency, but I feel like almost everyone starts to become dissatisfied with things that used to satisfy them up to a certain point. I don't know, because I'm always seeking growth, so like maybe enough is never enough for me, but hey, it is what it is. So for this one, what it looks like is like, for example, you could be that person that parties every weekend, or you could be that person that has all the hoes, or you could be the person that's, you know, always the person that people hit up when they try to have fun because they know you the turn up person. And then all of a sudden, one day, out of nowhere, none of those things make you happy anymore. Like none of those things make you happy anymore. And they used to be the things that you used to live for the weekend. You used to live to step out so everybody could holler at you. You used to live for that. You don't live for none of that no more, because now it's just like you seeing people getting married, you seeing people starting families, you seeing people pursuing their dream jobs, traveling, getting advanced degrees, and you're like, damn, I'm doing the same thing that I've been doing for the last 6 months, the last 2 years, and it's just like, am I ever going to stop doing this same stuff? And then you kind of feel like life is passing you by. And that one right there, that's the one that'll put some fire up under that behind about hopping on this growth train, honey. Yes, that's the one. And it's only bad when life is passing you by, but like there's no clear indication of when there's gonna be a change coming. That's when it becomes a problem, because it's like you could just be on a wave and you know this is just your summertime wave, but no, baby, this is your life wave. Yikes. Like that can get bad. I'm not saying any of those things that I listed are like negative things. They could just be things that were once great for you and are no longer great for you. If you still rocking like that, by all means, rock out. That is very much your business. And plus, I get it, honey. I'm still a hot girl. I know what I mean. But I'm fulfilled. So that's the difference. So you've identified what's wrong. And it's kind of like, okay, dang, okay, so I know like I don't like this job no more. I know I need to get a new job, but it's just like, dang, like I've been here a minute, and you know the pay pretty straight, and it's just like, you know, I like my coworkers, and you know I know how this job work, and I could pull up a little late and ain't nobody gonna say nothing. You're complacent. You're complacent, and you know what? I get it. Letting go isn't easy. letting go is not easy because you're not new to this, honey. You're true to this. And you're just like, you know, it might not even get any better than this. Like, you're starting to be doubtful. You're starting to believe that there isn't anything better for you because of where you are right now and how comfortable you are, baby. You're complacent. Got to break up out of that. You have to understand that there is a certain level of importance in this growth journey. And it's not to say that anything in your life is wrong, but the growth journey is for people who always desire more, and the people who always want better, and the people who put evolution, like self-evolution first. The people who find value in like not being static. That's who the growth journey is for. If you're comfortable doing whatever it is that you're doing, you're cool, you're fine. But when you come to the point where you're no longer satisfied, that's when you could come holler at me. That's when you could rewatch the video, though. Like, come on now. Like, I got it. I've been comfortable. And then I've been not so comfortable. And then I've been great. And then I've been like, oh my gosh, what the hell am I doing? I've been matter of fact, I wouldn't even say I've been all those people. All those people are me. I'm everyone. Like, it's all in me. Like, I have lived this time and time again. I get it. You are not alone. You're not alone. And this is exactly why you should not be denying yourself the growth because you're scared, or because you know it's going to be uncomfortable, because you know it's going to be challenging, or because you know you have to do it by yourself. Denying growth pretty much is the same thing as denying all the opportunities out there in the world that are for you, that are just waiting on you to get right. The growth journey will allow you to put yourself in a position for better opportunities. Opportunity awaits when you don't deny yourself growth. So once you start your journey, you now find that you've outgrown people, or that the space that you're living in no longer serves you, because you around the same people doing the same thing, or maybe because you find like the job that you want is in a different city, or you're just like, you just tired of looking at the same roles over and over again, and it's like you've been eating the same like plate from the chicken place like once a week, and then you know you're gonna get a crab boil every Wednesday because you know it's 20% off. Like, you're tired living that lifestyle that it becomes so monotonous. That's why I find it very important to allow the growth journey to be something that you do ever so often, and that you don't just let it be like a one-time thing, because you kind of you'll fall back into that vicious cycle of negativity. Just like adopt the growth journey as like your annual vacation, or however often that you want to do it. That's what the journey should be. So maybe it shouldn't be called a journey. So the Oxford Dictionary definition of journey is an act of traveling from one place to another. I mean, yeah. So don't allow your journey to stop at one destination is pretty much what I'm saying, because we do want to go from one place to another, but we want to continue to go from one place to another place to another place to another place, because growth shouldn't be a one-stop shop type of adventure that we're going on. It should be something that you're doing all throughout your life, damn near every day to a certain extent. Like, you don't got to move to a new city, or like drop all your friends, or like, well, I ain't gonna call them friends, drop all the people who are no longer, you know, the dead weight or whatever it is. You don't have to do that every single day, but it's also like you outgrow people too. So you have to understand that some people could be really great for you in a certain season, and it's okay to grow beyond them as you are transitioning into the next phase in your life. Like, that's really okay. I wish that people wouldn't take it so personally and so negatively, because happiness could really be on the other side of that decision for both parties, honestly. So it's really okay to let people go without there being any sort of malice or animosity. Like, that should really be like a thing that we practice more. But yes, not denying yourself growth because of opportunity. And also, as you're on this journey of growth and what have you, you have to understand that in order to do it successfully, you might not be able to take everybody with you. And this is really, you know, just the idea of kind of like closing old doors before you open new ones. And only if that person doesn't fit where you're going. Like oftentimes, like we have lifelong friendships and even like family that we're able to, you know, take through all phases of our life. But we might find that some people, if they're not growing at the same rate, or they're not seeking to grow, or they're bringing you down, you're gonna have to like leave them where they had you fucked up at. Like that, like that's really sorry, like that's really what's happening here. Is like you gotta cut the dead weight. And sometimes it's not even because they've done anything negative, it's just because you don't see them in the picture you painted for the next place that you're going. That's okay, because you know what, they could split up, they could end up being, you know, maybe a few journeys, a few other trips, maybe they could be like 3 trips down, or like maybe you will never cross paths again. But you have to be comfortable with that. Like that's a part of the discomfort piece that we're talking about. Letting people go could be a huge part of the discomfort piece, because you've grown accustomed to having them in your life. But then you like really look back retrospectively sometimes and you're like, that person may have served me in like season 3, but it's just like when I knew I was going to season 4, like I knew that directors were starting to write them out the show for a certain reason. But it took me to like season 7 to like really see why, because you know they're like they were lacking character development, or like their storyline was just like, it just wasn't running parallel with mine. But oh my gosh, they went off and did XYZ, and now they're able to be in season 8. Like it really do be that way sometimes. Or we killed the character off. Sometimes we kill the character off, and that's okay too. And that was a metaphor. I'm not advocating nor condoning any violence, because I know, I don't know how my message being received. Sometimes I speak a lot in metaphors and analogies, and I just need y'all to know when I'm not serious. Thank you. So that's with people, but like even like with environments. So a little backstory on me. After undergrad, I spent maybe like another like year in the city where I went to school, and then I moved home. Moving home, it alleviated me, financially, and gave me the opportunity to kind of like chill out on my bills as I was able to transition into the next phase of my career, which was cool and all. But from a social perspective, it was such a huge hindrance on me being able to like grow as an adult, because now I'm living back at my parents' house, and my parents are great. Like, do not get me wrong, they're super duper supportive. They don't be like all in my business for real. Like, they just, gave me a roof over my head, and that's love my parents. But being back in the environment in which I grew up, reconnecting with people who I knew before I had went off to school, still doing the same thing. Like, I ain't seeing like no progress. So now like I'm hanging with you, and now I'm feeling like cool with being lackadaisical, and like we just hanging out. And like, don't get me wrong, while I was home, I did meet a lot of people who were like progressing in life and just doing great things themselves. But it's just something about physically being placed back into that environment that became such a huge hindrance for me. And then at a certain point, I felt like I hit a glass ceiling, and I was like, it's absolutely time to like move on. But I had grown so comfortable. I was like, I'm so familiar with this area. I have established all these new friend groups, and it's just like, I've been here. At this point, I'm going on my 2nd year being back home, and it's just like, I just love it here. Like, I want to buy a house here. Like, I'm over here just like doing everything with staying there in mind. And then like one day, my mom and I went on a trip. And I woke up in the middle of the night out of my sleep, and me and my mom talked like really early the next morning. And I was telling her, I was like, Mom, I need to move. I've only ever lived in South Florida or Central Florida. Like, I've never lived anywhere else other than Florida. And I've only lived in like 2 places. And I'm starting to lose my sense of self. Like, I feel like my identity was just kind of like fading into the background, and that was like really starting to disturb me, because I felt like I was lacking ambition, and that's not me. Like, I'm really like such a curious and like exploratory person, So, but then when I found myself just like getting like way too comfortable with where I was and not feeling hungry and no longer feeling ambitious and not even wanting to like see what the job market is looking like anymore and not wanting to grow my skills because I had just like pretty much made up in my mind that like I'm just rocking with what I'm rocking with, I was like, oh no. I was like, this ain't me, this ain't her, this ain't she. And then I moved. Like 6 months later, I skedaddled because I knew that my environment was suffocating me and it wasn't allowing me to grow. Like I had hit the confines of the pot that I was growing in. Like, yeah, I was being given nutrients, I was being watered, but it's just like now I feel like I'm wilting and I'm losing me. And now I'm in a bigger pot, an unfamiliar pot, and now I have the opportunity to stretch and to grow in ways that I've never grown before. And yes, it's super duper uncomfortable because I don't know many people here. I'm glad I know some people, but I don't know many people here, and I'm in a completely different type of environment. Like I've never lived in a place that was so country before. Like, child, I'm in Georgia and like I'm outside of Atlanta, but still, like this is different than living in Fort Lauderdale. Like this is like it's different, and like it's a good different. It's a different that I like, and I feel I'm gaining my like sense of self again. I'm gaining my sense of confidence as I like really step into adulthood without, I guess, being, I don't want to say my parents, they weren't pacifying me, but that was a safety net that I really had right under my nose. And now I have the opportunity to like have to fall flat on my face. I doubt that I'm gonna do that because like I'm me, but like at the same time, that safety net is not there anymore. And this is a discomfort that I was able to step into with confidence. And with that being said, we have to discuss how to step into discomfort with confidence, which is like vitally important to you being able to even begin your growth journey, because you're already having all these ideas about doubt and about not knowing, like just fear of the unknown and things like that. Like it can be debilitating, believe me. So it's just kind of like you're thinking in your head, you're like, it's scary and I don't think I can do it. Been there, done that, and you're not the first and you won't be the last. Like it's scary and I don't want to do it. Now you've already made up in your mind that you're fearful of it and that it might be damn near impossible. Can't think like that. So I've come up with a little acronym to help you through the discomfort, and it's called D.A.M. D.A.M. Delusion, action, mindset. Delusion. If you can imagine it, you can do it. You're going to have to do whatever you need to do to achieve it, but it is not impossible. And I have never spoken to a delusional person that sees reality the same way as the rest of the world. That's the whole point of being delusional. You're supposed to stretch beyond the confines of reality into wonderland and decide that you're going to make it happen. Be delulu. Like it's really okay. Delusion, next, action. As simple as that. Do that shit. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Actionable steps towards your goals. Now that you've already concocted this crazy ass idea, do the work. All faith and no works is dead. So you can imagine all you want to, but if you're not taking out the time to develop the skill or making the move from point A to point B or letting go of the people, you're missing out on step number 2. Like you're not gonna achieve anything. You have to put in the work. You absolutely have to put in the work. And last but most certainly not least, and this is a huge one, M for mindset. Be okay with not being perfect. Yes, it might suck right now. You might not be good at it. It might hurt. It might make you sad. It might make you angry. You might be a little low on funds. But it can only go up from here, honey. Like you have set, the bar is in hell. Like I don't think it can really go any lower than that. So now that you've already established that this shit sucks, you can't go anywhere. Like you're on the ground. You're on the ground. Like you can't listen. Delusion, action, mindset. Damn. Yeah. So next time you think it's scary and you can't do it, just think, damn, 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 damn. Delusion, action, mindset. Put all those into play and you are well on your way to your growth journey today. Yeah, I know I dumb slid. Like, you do not have to tell me. I know I dumb slid. Anyway, before I let you go, last thing but most certainly not the least, do not succumb to the demon of comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. Please understand that your journey is not going to be like the next person. You can admire them, but do not envy them. You could look up to them, but do not look down on yourself. It is super duper important that you don't compare your journey to another person's in a way that is going to completely negate all of the work that you are doing to get where you need to go. You are number one. Like, you're a winner. And the first thing you have to do is decide that you're a winner. There is no growth without discomfort. You're not going to escape the discomfort on your growth journey. You just have to be confident enough to walk through it. I believe in you, but none of that matters if you don't believe in yourself. Thank you for rocking with me this evening, and I really hope this helps. Y'all have a good one.
It's better than yours, damn right. It's better than yours.